Get ready for a no BS approach to health and fitness. This is NBS Fitness Radio.
What is up, everyone? This is David Allen with NBS Fitness Radio, and today I'm going to give you 3 meal prep tips. So one of the biggest struggles we find in our clients is meal prepping, especially if they don't have a history of meal prepping. It's not something that they've done before. It can be kind of a big mountain, a big hurdle to kind of overcome to ensure that they're getting the right nutrition that they need to in order to reach their health and fitness goals. And so here are some strategies that we give to people to kind of help make this process easier. A sidebar is there's tons of meal prep companies nowadays that will actually do all this for you. And if you're just not someone who has the time, energy, or desire to cook, then using a meal prep company is a very good strategy. It's going to save you frustration. It's going to save you time. And you're going to be making sure that you actually have the food that you need to eat with you versus just trying to kind of figure it out on the go. So that is a tip, but it's not one of these 3. But if you just don't feel like cooking, use a meal prep company. We have one here called Amplified Meal Prep that tons of our clients use, and it's incredibly beneficial for them and makes the process very easy. But for those of you, or I should say, that being said, you also should probably have some meal prepping skills. It helps kind of build more of a connection with the food that you're eating. And at some point, you're probably going to have to cook something. So better learn how to do it correctly. So my first tip is what I call spinning the preparation wheel for your macros. And what I mean by this is a lot of times people will get bogged down in the sense that they kind of just prep the same things over and over again. And it gets boring. They need something that's a little bit different, that's going to make eating a little bit more exciting versus feeling like a chore. And so one thing that I do is I kind of have kind of our typical macro sources. So for example, let's use protein. We use chicken, we use beef, we use pork, and we use different types of fish a lot. Well, what we'll do is we'll consider those are 4 different types of protein. We'll also consider all the different cuts of those proteins. So for chicken, we've got breast, we've got wings, we've got tenderloins, we've got thighs. For beef, we've got ground, we've got fillets, we've got ribeyes, we've got sirloins, we've got all these different cuts, different type of roasts. And on top of that, we've got all the different preparatory methods. So we can grill, we can bake, we can saute, we can slow cook, we can smoke, and then we've got all of our different seasonings. So we can use different dry rubs, and we can use different marinades. And so what we'll do is kind of stick to the same basic sources of protein or carbs or fat, but we'll come up with a little bit different way of prepping those things. So if we've been doing chicken breasts using one seasoning on the grill, we'll switch it up. We'll do a different type of we'll maybe use still chicken breast in a marinade done in the oven baked. Either way, this just gives you a ton of different options and keeps you from being in the same kind of boring, grilled chicken breast with the exact same stuff. You do not have to keep it that plain and that simple every time. Use a different cut, but prepare it the same way. Use a different cut, a different seasoning, and prepare it a different way. Whatever you want to do, that gives you a ton of different options. So whenever we're going to the store, we try to make it a little bit more fun and exciting, kind of like try to pair things in a different way. We had this seasoning, and we smoked it. Let's try that seasoning and bake it and see how it tastes. Once you do that, you'll kind of get some that are your favorites, and be a little less feel restricted in a box of like I have to eat this exact prepped way every time because that's the only way I know. It's okay to explore a little bit. So use kind of the spinning wheel of preparation. You can spin that wheel and go, hey, what are we going to use today or this week? This week it's beef. What type of cut? We're going to use a pot roast. All right, very cool. What are we going to? How are we going to do a pot pot roast. We're going to slow cook it. What are we going to put in it? Well, you can look up a recipe or kind of make it up on your own. But that gives you a lot of different options and keeps meal prepping from being stale. All right, next thing is easy veggies. So meal prep tip number 2 is easy veggies. For us, the vegetables are something we want to make sure we have in every meal, but it can, to a degree, kind of seem like, man, it's just that one more thing to take all this prep time and all this cook time. Luckily for you and for us, there's a lot of ways to make this super easy. So you're really only having to cook your proteins and your carbs, and you can just introduce fats and have easy veggies. So easy veggies, here's some tips. 1, the veggie tray. There's a lot of times where I just don't feel like cooking vegetables or everything else is going to being cooked at that time. And I just don't want to take multiple hours. I want to get done in an hour and be done for the entire week. I want to prep every single food I'm going to eat for the whole week in 1 hour. So how do I do that? Well, sometimes I'll just buy a veggie tray. Those big veggie trays that people bring to office meetings or to parties or whatever. I will just grab that tray and then take handfuls of that and put it into my different meal prep containers. It's typically kind of raw vegetables that don't require any cooking. So maybe like raw snap peas, raw broccoli, raw carrots, all those kind of different options. If you don't feel like cooking and you need a good veggie source, that is a super easy one. It's just ready to rock and roll. Requires no cooking. It's just sitting there ready to rock and roll. Another good tip is frozen vegetables. So frozen vegetables are already sliced up. They're already sitting there ready to go, mixed up. All you got to do is either throw them on a baking tray or throw them in a pan and saute them. So you can throw them on the baking tray, bake them at 425, typically for about 20 minutes, pretty relatively hands off, or you can throw them in a skillet and then saute them in a little bit of oil. Those are super easy. It doesn't require you cooking or prepping anything, cutting anything up. They're already cut. You can find these in all the frozen vegetable sections of any major grocery store, and that's what we typically go to. We'll use a lot of those frozen vegetables to kind of prep. And another way that you can use frozen vegetables is sometimes they have pre-cooked frozen vegetables. So these are vegetables that have, we know they have these at Costco. We bought them. Our coach Angie kind of put them onto us, but they're pre-cooked vegetables. So they're already cooked, they're frozen, and you don't have to prep these at all. You can literally just take these frozen vegetables, take a cup of them, and dump them into your meal prep containers. You're going to take those containers and then put them into the freezer anyways. So they're already cooked, they're already frozen, they're already prepped for you. You just grab them, throw them into your meal prep containers, put them in the freezer. Literally requires no cook time, no prep time. All you're doing is transferring them from the bag into the meal prep container. It is super easy. All right. Finally, my third tip is to cook with your entire kitchen. So one thing that can be stressful when it comes to meal prep is it can take some time. I've heard people say, like, man, it took me 4 hours to meal prep. It's like, golly, yeah. And who has that time on a Sunday to give away 4 hours to meal prep? That's not the way to do it. The way to do it is make sure every item that can cook things in your kitchen is cooking things at the same time. So let's give an example. So what I might do is if I've got a grill and I've got a oven, I would probably put something on the grill. So let's use examples. So maybe we're going to do steaks. So steaks, easy peasy, they go on the grill. I've got salmon, that's going in the oven. Below the salmon in the oven is going my veggies. I've got a rice cooker that's cooking rice. And on my stove, I've got a pot of boiling water that is boiling potatoes or pasta, whatever kind of carb I'm going to use. So instead of, cooking my chicken, then cooking my rice, then cooking my veggies, I cook it all at the same time. I make sure everything in my kitchen is running at the same time. So most of the time we'll have multiple eyes on the oven. we'll have something like a rice cooker or a slow cooker going at the same time. We've got a double oven, so we'll use both ovens, again, going at the same time. And we got a smoker and we've got a grill. So between that, we can make sure everything is being cooked all at the same time. And most things, minus a slow cooker or if you're smoking something, most things take about anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes to cook. So pretty much for about the first 30 minutes, we're prepping things, getting them ready to cook, and then they are cooking. Then the second 30 minutes is us taking things out, cutting them into proper portions, and then placing them into the meals. So most of our meal prep only takes about 1 hour of time a week, and that's cooking for 2 people, multiple meals every single day. And so we get it all done in an hour. And the way we do that is by tip number 3. We use the whole kitchen. So whatever you've got in your kitchen, use all that at the same time. Don't make sure everything is cooking right from the get-go. If your plan doesn't allow for that, or for example, if you only know how to cook one thing in one way, you're planning on cooking it this way, you have something else that also needs to cook that way, be creative. Find a different way to cook it. If your oven's being used to cook potatoes and you've got salmon that needs to be cooked, well, throw that salmon on the grill. If you wanted to use your stovetop to cook some veggies, but it's being used by something else, you got space in the oven, throw it in the oven. That will help you get a little more creative. It'll also help you go a lot faster. And the name of the game is making it easier on you, not harder on you, to make this happen. So if you can find a way to make it fun and less stale to cook by using this spinning wheel of macros and having different preparatory methods to cook generally the same things in a different way every time, so you get to experience different tastes, that'll help. If you can make vegetables easy, that'll help. If you use your whole kitchen, that'll help as well. Make meal prep a lot easier for you. And if it's easier for you, you will stick with it and continue it and be more consistent. And if you can do that, you will reach your health and fitness goals. All right, folks, that's your tips. MBS Fitness Radio, out.
Thank you for listening to NBS Fitness Radio. If you enjoyed the podcast, be sure to share it with your friends, follow us on social media, and check out our website at www.nbsfitness.net. Hit the subscribe button and tune in next time for more NBS Fitness Radio.